these drift or move slowly, like the harmonic intervals of a musical string, such as the monochord. And each of these conditions is finally a part or a degree or a state of absolute existence. Naturally, as with other peoples, efforts to define the nature of this absolute were considered more or less fruitless. Socrates, Pythagoras, Buddha, Confucius, and Plato agreed primarily in the principle that to define the infinite is to defile the infinite. These things are simply beyond comprehension. But out of the utterly incomprehensible, there emerges not only these conceivable or hypothetical polarities upon which all existence rests, but by their polarization an interval is created. An interval between the above and the below. An interval between extremes. And in this common ground, or in this what the Nordic peoples call Gnunga gap, or the cleft in space, creation as we know it comes into existence. And out of the absolute operations of spirit and matter, or complete life and complete material substance, as these were understood, there arose a product which was the result of the operation of one on the other. And this product was time. Time was therefore the most ancient child of heaven and earth. And the experience of time has to do with duration. And as the Greeks express it, time is the measure of separateness. In other words, only when reality is in some way reduced from its own nature into a semi-illusionary state, or relativity takes the place of absolutivity, only under such conditions can time come into existence. For time is a kind of a measure of the separateness of something from allness. While it remains within allness, it is not subject to time. But when it is separate from allness, it is subject to coming into existence. It is subject to continuing in existence. And it is subject to dissolution or departure from existence. And time is the measure of the coming, the continuing, and the departing of all things. Time, therefore, is merely man's way, or man and nature's means of distinguishing the difference between the finite and the infinite. That which is infinite is timeless. That which is finite has an impermanent relationship to the infinite. And that impermanent relationship is time. And this time factor is that devouring thing which in turn dissolves and absorbs everything over which it is placed as ruler or governor. So between these two abstractions arises the dim, mysterious form of Cronus, the deity holding in one hand the sickle, the one that cuts all things down. This comes back to us in our medieval thinking as Father Time with his scythe, who cuts down all creatures. He is the reaper, the gatherer-upper of things. And in the ancient symbols, he carries not only the scythe in his hand, but wears a crown composed of an hourglass. This is very interesting. And in one group of symbols, he is represented as combing out the tresses of a beautiful maiden, as though gradually combing out, or separating, or removing the snarls, or the knots, or the cords, or the twists, or the turnings and confusions of everything. Because in the end, time alone combs out all confusion and becomes the absolute critic, the final censor, the absolute judge of everything that exists. For that which is the noblest, as the Greeks pointed out, has the greatest endurance in time. The truly great person is longest remembered. The great truth is longest honored. And that which is less is more quickly forgotten or lost in the reaping of time. Thus many powerful and splendid things vanish in time because of their deficiency in reality. Whereas those things most like reality, or possessing the greatest participation in reality, have the greatest endurance in time. Time, though it must reap everything, protects some things longer than others, and operates more slowly on those things over which it has less authority, because they have more of timelessness or reality in themselves. So we have this ancient background, but it is a very highly theoretical background. It is almost as though Uranus and Gaia and Cronus represent a living stage. They are like a vast theater of living energies upon which the drama will be unfolded. You do not see them anymore in the play, because they are both the stage and the whole of the play. We no longer see them as persons, but they in some way mysteriously divide the play. For because of them, the play has its beginning, its middle, and its end. Because of them, the play has its chronology, its sequences, and it portrays those things which belong under the powers of heaven, earth, and time. Thus we see the effect of these elements constituting the legitimate factors of drama, as is represented in the plays of Sophocles and the other great Greek playwrights. So the playwrights wrote only because time created drama. And without the time quality intervals, there would be no drama. Your great cavalcade play, showing the life of a person, is the unfolding of time in that person. Or if a series of abrupt events make a complete play to be written as though the acting was within a few hours, this in turn is another kind of time pattern that determines the plot and is present forever, although not noticeable. Creation, therefore, is played upon the theater of time, upon the stage of this strange drama. The scenery, all of the mysterious parts of the amphitheater into which the audience gather to behold the play. This vast auditorium, or coliseum, or whatever it may be, is actually the interval or the great space between spirit and matter in which the drama of time ceaselessly and inevitably unfolds. So the Greeks, having set their great stage, then produce their cast of characters, characters who are going to play out the drama, who are going to become the personifications of heaven, earth, and time. Everything must be so triangulated, and without this triangulation there can be no drama. For every drama, they say, is a triangle of some kind. We have one we know very well in modern drama called the Hollywood Triangle, which has probably supplied the incentive for 90% of our motion pictures. It is rather simple, homely, and destructive, but we make constant use of it. Now, we then see also another division. All of this great background is made up of things that as such we cannot touch or feel or know. They therefore belong together to a kind of an imponderable. They are too remote, too mysterious for us even to picture them adequately. We cannot make diagrams of them successfully. They more or less lurk together on the blank paper upon which other pictures will be drawn. They become dimensions, laws, and rules. never seen of themselves, but never absent from any compound that exists.